Yeah, I want to welcome Satyen Raja to the Global Hope Summit. For those of you who haven't ever heard of him, he does a lot of work with power and wisdom and business, and he helps people to really integrate those two, to integrate ancient wisdom with what we are trying to do today in our business and our lives. He does a lot of work with relationships, which I'm excited to dive in with him today. And we'll be going through a few of these things, and I hope that this will really enhance the conversation that we're having as part of the Global Hope Summit. And definitely any questions or anything that you have, I want to keep them around this topic in the group for us. And but anyway, to get started here, Satyen, I want to tell you a little bit. Like right now, there just seems, I know you talk a lot about polarity, and it seems like right now in today's world, there's almost a lot of repelling energy happening with the in various ways, whether that's with politically, with kind of with all the racism and conversation and what's going around with police and all of these things, and I think it's happening everywhere. So yeah, talk a little bit about like how you see polarity in terms of how you approach it in your business and relationships.
Well, certainly. Well, thanks for having me here, and everyone listening and watching. Very grateful for your presence and your attention, and hopefully we'll share some things that you might find valuable, useful. The dualities is a ancient Eastern philosophy from the yin and yang of Chinese philosophy, that there's this circle and all things have opposites, dualities, polarities. So masculine, feminine, male, female, left and right, what we're seeing here, good cops, bad cops, citizens versus authorities. It's endless. We have these opposites that go on. There's natural opposites like earth and sky and water and fire. These are like what we would consider elemental opposites that are working together in harmony. Now, when polarities become antagonistic, they're no longer helpful to each other. They create a repulsion. There's three things that can happen between opposites. Number one, repulsion, right? We see this in politics right now. The left side is vilifying everyone on the right side. Look at these people. They're stupid. They're idiots. They're ignorant. They're unconscious. They're manipulators. Da da da, et cetera, et cetera. That whole machinery is going on, and it evokes separation. Who wants to listen to those type of people if they're like that? This side, right side, is doing the same. These people are manipulators. They're trying to suck your power. They don't have credibility. They don't care really about you. They don't care about your values. They're only trying to suck energy out of you as well. And so all of the media and energy gets flamed on that. And the thing about, if you look at the algorithms in Facebook and social media, false news and inflamed news and vitriol is shared 6 times more than good news and truthful news.
Yeah.
So the system is designed for us to continuously put in our face things that elicit our emotional turmoil, our emotional vehemency, our for or against. Now, if you get caught up in the for or against, which is hard not to get caught up in, right? Of course, right? Then what happens is we actually add fuel energetically to the very thing we're against when we're against it. It becomes stronger. We think by trying to knock it down, by trying to, vilify or break down whoever we're oppositional against, will actually make our stand stronger. And in the wisdom teachings of all time, of the great wisdom masters, they've all shared that's not the way. It actually causes worse damage. It makes you more entrenched, your heels dug in, moves us away from unity and from working together, which is what we really need to do. So we can be repelling. So what can we do? Number one, stop buying the bullshit. Stop buying the bullshit. Stop buying the finger pointing. Stop buying those who are putting gas on the flames. Start removing yourself bit by bit. Start taking more of a fast from that bombardment that's emotionally eliciting. then start coming back to your home. And what that happens is, instead of being riled up by the opposites, the next thing that we can do, instead of repelling, is neutralize the opposites. See them as part of a bigger picture. Using this example, the right side philosophy, at essence, if you will, at core essence, is be self-determined. Find a way to be self-resourceful, to make it on your own, right? So that you can achieve the values and the gifts that life can give, but don't expect handouts. Find your own power source. So that is the altruistic, virtuous side, the pure side of that intention. There might be all types of weird shit on the outside and corruption, and I'm talking about the core root.
Right.
Now, the left side's core philosophy essence is, hey, instead of just me being successful, what if I can't be happy unless my whole society is happy? How about let's aim to lift up the all? It can get distorted in principle and measure and application and corruption and all, but at the core, it's just as valuable of a wisdom philosophy. So if you are oppositional, then it won't work. But if you recognize, yes, I must be self-resourceful. Yes, I can grow my strength. Yes, I can be a person of my own repute, and I've made it on my own. And I can be generous and put a helping hand, and I can help my fellow members of society become more whole and healthy. And this is natural to have the holistic view.
Right.
So
that's interesting. I talk a lot about like these two things, which to me are like self-reliance and interconnectedness, right? And that's kind of exactly what you're talking about there. And I love that frame of, it's almost sort of the core belief of the left, and I would say even the other side is the core belief of the right, that I should become self-reliant, and on the left that everything we do affects everyone else, and sort of. And so it's really interesting to see how we can kind of combine those things and live in both those spaces, because that's what we really need to do. It's sort of the yin and the yang of that, right?
The ancient, indigenous wisdom said healthy bird needs left and right wing. You can't really fly. You're always in opposition you won't get off the ground if you're only flapping one wing. So emotionally, this is a psycho-spiritual emotional warfare for our adherents is going on right now. There's so many systems that want you to be a member of their shtick,
their
small or big. You must first become a member of your own shtick, of your own values, of your own source, of your own heart, of your own ideals. We need to withdraw from everyone else's projection of what we should be and say, hold on a sec. Who am I? What am I? What do I truly believe in? I believe in it all. And that's wisdom. Wisdom is bringing together seeming opposites, bring them into wholeness, and then you can be the play, like on a piano keyboard. You don't just play the heavier notes, or the lighter notes. An artist plays with more notes, the lighter and the deeper ranges. So we as leaders, we as business leaders, we as people who have self-determination can recognize the wisdom of the whole spectrum, because the wisdom is in the whole spectrum.
Yeah, I love that. You talked about a little bit about this war for adherence, and earlier about this like separation that's happening, and sort of all the repellent forces that's trying to cause this separation, whether that's in our society or in like the fracturing of groups. What do you do? How do you easily or do you have a way to easily identify like when something is coming at it from that angle, coming at it from a separation point of view, where they're trying to?
It's really easy. It's cutting someone else's reputation and significance down. Any intention that is aiming to cut others in significance and reputation down automatically is shooting themselves in their own foot. Might be not now, might be 2 years from now, 4 years from now. It could be through some other ways. But that methodology gives us perhaps a short-term win, but we all lose in the end
Yeah.
because we just have more ingrained separation. Think about it. We have two contenders right now as an example at the top of the game, okay?
Right.
Now, it was the same 4 years ago. It was the same 4 years before that. Same 4 years, the names change, the faces change, but the division is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's surprising that like I think a lot of people, can see the division a little bit easier and like feel like it's greater. But I think it's always it seems like it's always trended that way. Like they've been for a long time. I don't want to say whoever they is, but for a long time, like we've been pulled more and more and more and more apart slowly, it seems. And how do we jump back in and create more unity? Not just in like from a personal standpoint, from like what
Yeah,
I can do every day.
that's a really great question. First of all, it's to remove and exit the matrix that's getting us sucked into this war of adherence.
Mm.
You have to be willing to say that I can create my own life free from the vitriol and the gunslinging and the mudslinging of each other. Don't be part of it. It's so easy. That's the number one step, is to say, no, I'm going to find my strength in equanimity. I'm going to find my strength in equilibrium. I'm going to find my strength in my own silent power. Whereas the world will get louder,
Yeah.
meditation, coming back home, taking a walk. And my meditation is less sitting. I got a lot of life force in me. I'm a little stirred.
Yeah.
I like to meditate by walking through the forest or walking in the grass. I like to go through nature, do those short nature walks throughout the day, throughout the week. That's my moving type of meditation. I like to be with the trees, the fresh air. When I do that, I find my own center and I start getting messages from within. I start finding who I am. What do I truly believe in? And to do that, you need to remove yourself more and more from the bombardment of sensory input.
Yeah.
The more we relax ourselves from the bombardment of sensory input, the more our own inner navigation system starts to wake up from slumber, and we can start to hear it and go. And it's like, hey, I was telling you the messages all within.
Right.
So there's a soul. We have a soul, a heart, if you will, spirit, and we have a mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly giving us messages. So one of the things I do, and I am suggesting, is listen to the voice of your soul and mind unity. Sometimes we might have a great idea in the mind. On books, this business idea, this steps looks really cool, right? But somehow your gut, your soul, your heart doesn't feel aligned. Don't do it. Even if your mind says yes. The other way might happen too. Your soul goes, yeah, that feels right. I feel really good about that. But your mind's going, no, I don't have enough data yet. I haven't checked out that person's reputation, if I should hire him or not, or be a business. My gut says yes. Don't do that either. That's also an error.
Wow, that's really interesting, because I feel like there's a lot of people who would say like, oh no, this idea of follow your heart, go after, what you feel is right. So I love that idea of unity there. That's really incredible, and I
God
think
gave
that's
us
such a
all
great,
this whole full spectrum mechanism of understanding reality. It's
right.
built in. We have mind intelligence, heart intelligence, gut and body intelligences. Our gut, our body has neurons, has sensory neurons that can tell the truth of things.
Right.
It's not just here.
Right.
Our heart has a heart wisdom that's interconnected, as we spoke. And our mind is able to create great deduction, great understanding, nuance, subtlety, steps of create. So as warrior sages, I've found that rather than deny one or make one more important than the other, the Western world, the intellectual intelligentsia, makes this the most powerful way that we operate from.
Mm-hmm.
The humanistic, psychological, spiritual realms tend to make the heart, the body more the center. What I've discovered, it's the wisdom of the whole. And I look for the comfort of both. When I get a comfort in my mind Yeah, number wise, paper wise, this feels comfortable. My
Right.
heart and gut and soul feels. Then I say yes. So I'm saying a lot more no's,
Yeah.
or I wait. But when I get the mind and soul unity, bam! I've never failed, and no one has ever failed when they've, because you're using the ultimate resource of your comprehensive navigation system
Yeah.
already built in.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I think that's kind of a lot of what happened with, starting even the Global Hope Summit. Like I remember the moment when it all happened and everything just kind of went, and we were off. So, yeah, I definitely recognize that. When you talk about like right now, like in our world, there, like it actually everything has slowed down. Like it's almost like the circumstances have kind of been created to allow us to do exactly what you're talking about, right? Which is go deep, take those walks. Like I remember when the whole pandemic thing just started, it seemed like everyone now was in my neighborhood out walking, and so yeah, talk about how is this time like a perfect time, like even with everything going on, to
Wow.
really go deep. Yeah.
That's such a great question. It's a courageous and a vulnerable question.
Mm,
Look, however this is formed, COVID, right?
right.
It struck the world. Some
Right.
people believe it's generated, manufactured. Some people believe that there's billions and trillions to be made and there's agendas. Of course there is. There's business. You don't
Right.
have to be a diabolical cabal. You could just be business and want to make good business out of what you create. Boom. Fair and fine.
Right.
And then there's other people who believe, oh my God, doom and gloom is going to happen. Or what do you call it? This is all natural and we need to do this and take these measures and all that. And we can get caught up as well in all of those. Who's right? Who's wrong? What's true? What's not?
Right.
The Warrior Sage philosophy I have is I have no idea. We got inclinings, but some of it sounds crazy. Some of it sounds on crazy. It all is crazy. It's a crazy time. So rather than fall into the craziness, we got to elevate ourselves above the craziness, move beyond it, feel our vulnerability, and then go, okay, rather than this means something, what is the meaning I'm going to make from it?
Mm,
Who knows what it means? Who knows how? But I'm going to give it the meaning that makes it better in my world.
right.
So rather than be an effect to what other people say it means, first of all, go, how am I going to what am I going to make out of this? The way I like to look at this whole time is Mother Nature has given us a timeout.
Right. I love
Go
that.
to your room, kids. You've been playing around. You've been making a mess on Mother Earth. Go to your room and you need to contemplate and write out lines or whatever it is. So I feel that's sort of the humorous, loving approach I take rather than the doom and gloom.
Right.
And one of the things I've recognized looking at the history of pandemics, studying it, some of my mentees and students are infectious disease specialists, MDs.
Yeah.
They're very much into that whole world. One of the things I've come to recognize is if I look at the cycles, the last big one, 1918, pandemic, the 1920s after that were the roaring 20s. So after the period of contraction, right, for
Right.
period of coming in, closes, contraction, there's always a period of boom.
Right.
You can see it over every cycle. So we as entrepreneurs, business leaders, anyone involved in making a difference, recognize we're going to be entering a boom.
Right.
Put aside the gloom and doom is to sell papers and to get you sucked into the hole of attention, media attention, because fear is very, very captivating. Those putting out optimistic messages are lesser on the megaphone. The megaphones are the fear mongers, right?
Yeah.
So there's another bigger megaphone that puts out silent sound, and that's Mother Nature. She's bigger than any human megaphone that's yelling and screaming. Mother Nature. So if we look around us, nature is rejuvenating, the air is fresher, the birds are chirping more. There's fires, of course, here and there. We need to take into all of those accounts. But Mother Nature is talking to us now stronger. She doesn't use human voice. She's talking to us in ways that are more profound and stronger and deeper now than ever before. So as a warrior sage, it's time to return home to the awareness that I am Mother Nature. I'm not a steward of it. I'm not in it. I'm not on top of it. I'm not meant to extrapolate from it. I am part of this living organism called the Gaia. So just by recognizing that, recognizing I'm part of this whole, you can start to find sanctuary, meaning. Know that we're going to be entering a boom period financially. We're going to be entering a boom period in economy. I really feel that. I really get a strong sense of that. Knowing that, then you can hold in that while others are scared and nervous, and be the beacon of solidity and positive vision. You can be the visionary now. Right. So those of us who are listening and resonating with what I'm saying, we are the visionary. You are, my brother, the visionary of this time, bringing hope and elevating. And no, we actually have something to gain from this. Yeah. Now, spiritually, this period of time is a time of deep contemplation, introspection. And the two things that I like to, that I've been practicing during these times that I like to offer as a contemplation is ask yourself, what is mine to do? I might have been doing all types of things by rote, by habit, by programming, by my regular job, how I did my 9 to 5, cooking meatloaf on Wednesdays and tofu pie on Thursdays and whatever our regular routines, right? This is a powerful time to examine what is routine that we do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What am I doing routinely weekly? What am I doing as a routinely way of life? And say, rather than do the routine, what is mine to do now? If this was a new fresh start, a reboot, a replug, right? I refresh the computer. What is mine to do now? Right. And what is not mine to do that I have been doing by automaticity?
Yeah, that's interesting because, like, I guess right now, really, like almost every day, you could do something new, do something different, try a different thing in a way that you definitely couldn't before. That's really cool.
What new shows, new hobbies, picking up? Like my wife brought out coloring books. And I'm like, I'm in my 50s. I'm like, coloring book? Well, she brought out coloring books, all these beautiful crayons. And, we're like, okay. She dragged me into doing a coloring night, and I said, okay, let's do it. She put nice music. And I couldn't believe it. I just got into it. And it became, so now I'm like enjoying coloring and I want to now maybe get into, does it mean anything? Am I going to make millions of dollars from it? No, but my soul is happy that I'm discovering something that I haven't done since I was a kid.
Yeah, you have a lot of joy in that. And I know we did a puzzle, and then there's these like Lego architecture sets that are like Legos for adults that we were building one, and that was so much fun. It was just like you're just completely in the moment and just like really full of joy. That's really cool. Yeah, finding things like that every day.
What's ours to do? And sometimes there may be bigger things. You might realize, holy shit, I've been treating my partner in a shitty way. I've been allowing myself to be treated in ways I don't want to be treated. I'm no longer going to allow that to happen now. I'm going to say no. I'm just going to say no. I'm going to strengthen my boundaries, say no to that part of my life. That's not for me to do anymore. Sorry, I'm not going to do all this shit that I was doing for you before. I love you, but I'm not going to do it anymore. But now I am willing to do this. I am going to be taking up this. So this, I believe, COVID time is the most potent time to accelerate your spiritual and psychological and human evolution. This is more potent time and most potent time for society to quicken in our evolution. If we choose it, if we say, I'm going to make this valuable for my life, or as many people are doing, they're not surrendering in a spiritual way, they're surrendering in a defeated way. They're defeated inside. And they're thinking things of defeat. In more ways, they'll be defeated. In other ways, they'll be defeated. And if you do that, you'll never get out of your own defeat. You got to go in there, grab your young soul in them, pull up their arms up and say, no, we're going to make good out of this. Right. We're going to grow deeper. We're going to be wiser. We're going to be more loving. We're going to be more conscientious to my family, to myself. I'm going to love my body more. I'm going to love who I am with all my flaws, all my beauties. This is a sacred time to love yourself.
Yeah, I think for me, I definitely have. I went on a trip a while back, and I had to fly on a plane. So I got back, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna self-impose quarantine just to like protect everyone around me, and just kind of make the choice to do that. And it was totally self-imposed. But in that time, I found like, wow, I actually really enjoy that and need that deep alone time. And like I don't think before that, like I knew that I liked to balance, like, yeah, I go out and meet a bunch of people with have some time to myself, but I don't think I really understood the depth to that I could get with sustained alone time. And I love that you used the word timeout to describe it, like Mother Nature giving us a timeout, because that's kind of what it felt like for me. And you also talked about how there's kind of this explosion. I think there's a lot of that also will happen in relationships, which is really interesting to me. And I know you talk a lot about relationships, and like, for a lot of people, like there's this like sort of power of touch, right? That's like, oh, we haven't been able to hug. And I remember like being able to do that at one point. I was like, man, it's been like 2 months since I had a good hug,
Yeah.
So like how can we, like, maintain really great relationships in, like, while we're at a distance, and then B, like, how can we, what do you think it's going to look like re-entering the world in terms of relationships, whether that's people dating,
Sure.
people coming together? What do you think that's going to look
Those are
like?
great questions. My wife is really magical at creating connections.
Mm,
Suzanne,
yeah.
we've been married now for 33 years. We've been together in a relationship and got two amazing young adult children. And, you know, what she's been doing on the weekends. So my wife is Jamaican, Caribbean, and I have my Indian family.
Hmm.
And so she does a 1 hour a 90-minute Zoom, and has invited all her family, and we meet once every other week.
Yeah.
And this has never happened in our whole life. But
Right.
from all over the Caribbean, from Canada, from America, and all over. And whoever can come, and cousins and aunts and uncles share. It's been lovely. Even though all the kids are talking over each other, everyone's talking,
Right.
it's not good form just to see each other.
Right.
So what we do is we counter the separation by scheduling in connection.
Mm.
Then she's done the same with our family from India and England. So now, every couple of weeks I get to see my aunts, and I never, uncles, cousins,
Right.
nephews, nieces, and I love it. At first, I got to tell you, it was like, every other week, Sue, do you really have to? Blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a little sleepy on the weekend. But then I get up and I'm like, wow, that was so enriching. So if you've got cousins, friends, family around the world, schedule it in, call people in. Look, no matter how much wealth, accumulation, success we have in the heart, we're broke if our hearts is not happy.
Right.
We're broke. Happiness can, right? So, when we're passing on, we're not going to be thinking about our accumulations. We're going to be thinking about the love that's been shared.
Right.
That's the most valuable thing. So I believe that what love is there for us to share right now and to receive.
Mm.
Pragmatically, are there people that you have cycles that you haven't completed with? Like I've made a list of people, and I've been going through a list of people that, I didn't finish it off properly. I didn't. It's vague. My cousin over there, I left it vague. I left it open, the cycle open. Or this person, I don't like them, and I didn't tell them, and I'm just hiding out, or I'm not avoiding. I'm avoiding speaking to them. I
Mm.
said, well, who am I avoiding? What am I avoiding? And let me complete those communications until there's wholesomeness. That's the first thing I did. Oh my goodness, brother, that has changed everything, because now I'm settled. Some of those people we love each other, we did, but our paths have moved on. Or at
Right.
least it's not in the background unconscious mind with a niggly snagging at me.
Mm.
Other ones, hey, I'm so glad you reached out. I missed you. And we've reestablished some love, some connection.
Right.
right? So connection and contact is really the food for the soul.
Yeah.
All our addictions, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, all sex addictions, internet addictions, game, whatever, is based on there's a part of our soul that's really hungry and thirsty, and we don't know how to feed it directly through connection and contact. So we use secondary, tertiary, superficial ways to fill that. So when we recognize that and go, okay, no, what my soul wants is true connection. Now, make the reach outs. Who are the people you need to forgive? Who are the people you need to love? Who are the friends, family members that you would love to connect with that you haven't in a long time? Schedule it. Yeah. That will start nourishing your soul.
I love that. Yeah, it's so important. Like we get so caught up in, you know, our own lives and what we're doing day to day. It's so easy to do that. And then, you know, layer on all of the, you know, like we talked about earlier, all the crazy polarities and people harboring for your attention, and like, you know, the people that really matter, you know, to you, your close sort of unit of people, like those are the people that we need to connect with the most right now, you know. So I love that you're taking that approach.
Our strongest asset right now is a strong, noble, and open heart. That's our strongest power that we can cultivate right now. A strong, meaning a heart that can receive the pain, the suffering, have compassion and empathy for all people, even people that we think are off. Like that takes a strength to have compassion and empathy. It's not weak. But we also need an open heart to embrace new viewpoints, differences. You know, I don't believe in a lot of the stuff that you believe around the political ideas you have. But I don't have to close to you as a person.
Right.
I might not agree with your viewpoint. I might not agree with them, but I don't have to agree with you as a human. I can still love you. I can still respect you as a human with different values, with different viewpoints. And an open, noble, strong heart looks for the positive intention behind someone's talk and behind someone's philosophy. Even though the outside of their philosophy may be grating and you might be against it. I'll give you an example. Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
I come from I was born in Africa. I'm of Indian descent. I'm not considered a black African American, but I'm an Indian man. So I'm somewhere in between, brown as an example, right?
Right.
And, you know, my wife is Jamaican, black family, mixed family. And, you know, I posted some things on Black Lives Matter, and I had this other oppositional folks write on my page going, no idea, it's a communist group, it's Marxist. And I looked at it and they're like, holy shit, there are Marxist people in the leadership around this.
Right.
Like, it's true. But that's different. That's an organization, right? That's got, just because my political leader is liberal here in Canada doesn't represent all of me.
Right.
All of us? No. So just because leaders in this have that, no, what it's about is the people. So I said, what's your positive intention in getting this across? They were like, well, don't buy the hype. I go, great. Can you get that there's millions of people that aren't into the politics of Black Lives Matter or any Marxist or communist viewpoint? They just care. They just want to see less people underneath, authorities give them shit more than they need.
Right.
That's what they really mean.
Right.
Not thinking about the geopolitics. They just want their families to be safer.
Yeah.
Can you at least feel the positive intent in that? You might not agree with the politics. You might not agree with. So I believe an open, noble, conscientious heart is the one that says, whatever you believe, what is your true, what's the positive intent that you have? And cut through the outside, because I believe at core, most of us, not all of us, there are diabolical assholes who are just trying to suck us dry and manipulate us for greed and power and money. But that's a minority.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you posted a while back, you know, kind of relating to this. I think it was sort of a Venn diagram, right? With like people who support, you know, people who think Black Lives Matter, people who support good police officers, and people who are against police brutality. And it's like that. I'm in agreement with all of them.
And people who support good police and enjoy and value.
Right.
It doesn't have to be either or. The
Right.
either or is the game of inflame.
Yeah.
The warrior stages is the art of oneness.
Right. That false antagonistic duality. I
You
love
got
that.
it.
That's such that concept, just like really getting and wrapping your mind around that, I think can, changes the way you view almost everything. Just because it's
Mahatma Gandhi demonstrated this in years back when they said, "Are you siding for the Hindus? Or are you siding for the Muslims?" He was a Hindu,
yeah,
but he believed that all Indians were his country men and women, that they were all, that they should be all loved equally and fully. So he never sided with one side. In fact, he was killed by Hindus for showing affection, compassion, and inclusion. He was killed for his inclusionary stance.
yeah,
And if you think about it, our saints and sages and religious icons, many of them have been killed by being inclusive.
right,
So there is a cost of being oneness, of operating it. There's the risk that you being not for or against the majority here and here, that you might be alienated by everyone.
right,
But when you know that your truth of unity is stronger than division, then you can stand in that and be the bridge maker. And the world, we need more bridge makers. We don't need more people who are harming each other through word, deed, or thought.
yeah. Yeah, it's such yeah, it seems so much to me like it's always, this this person attacking this person attacking this person. And I think there's two sides to how you can respond and not be a part of those two. There's like this idea of opting out, and then there's the idea of kind of standing in your truth of like, look, this is what is actually true, and being a representation of that. How can we do that? How can we find like strength within us to not just opt out of the conversation, but to step up and stand into our own truth?
You know, that's a big one. And the first thing is that you have to want inside your soul, your life and your freedom to be so big and true that it's bigger than what everyone else is feeding you and what media is feeding us and what our parents have fed us and what society has fed us. Society has fed us this division. I mean, imagine two parties, right? Just to be in one party, just to be the leader of that, you got to knock down other people in your party over and over. And then once you get voted in, then you got to show that you're friends with them. How insane, right? You gotta
Know you're friends with them and keep them from knocking you down.
Exactly. So you got to knock down to get up to here. Then you got to knock down, blah, blah, have a rivalrous contention to get to the here. But then once they've all picked their top leaders, then everyone here is supposed to be all friendly and one again. Then you have these two in opposition. What if we had parties that came up and it was what if every time that if the majority would be the main leader and what if it was a dual presidency every time? Every time.
Yeah.
And that whatever, let's say left and right, that they would have to make decisions together, unified, that there's not one president, there's always two or three. Think about how I know it's daydreaming.
Yeah, totally.
Think about the radicalness.
Well, at some point, someone has to make a decision.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what if they had to all make a decision within 24 hours, those two, always unanimous, always in agreement, or they both are fired?
I like it.
Right? You know how much more stuff would get moved forward in the world? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Imagine they had 10 agendas every week and they said, okay, we have to come to unified, ratified agreement on 10 or we're fired every single week.
Right.
You have to. The condition says I have to. So you have to come up with your co-compromise, looking at the whole. And now instead of you both being for your parties, you're now for the people. Even if that's magical thinking on the real, we can do that on the inside.
Right. Well, I think too, it's like right now we have this like two-party system in the US. A lot of other places in the world have like a lot of different parties. And like in those places, people tend to be better represented because there are more voices, right? So we've basically silenced all but two voices, right, in order to create this false duality. And so yeah, so I definitely think one way to kind of curb that would be to, if we could find a way to increase the number of options for people, and get people to not just see things through those two lenses. Um, but at the same time, I don't want to be going against that either. Like you're saying, it's about, creating unity and standing kind of in your truth. But like, how do you have a way that, like, in the moment I can, like, let's say I do want to say something that something inside me makes it feel like this is a difficult thing to say, but I know that it needs to be said. How can I, have the strength to be able to, in the moment, say
That's
it?
a great question. First of all, it's knowing that your centeredness is a gift to the world.
Yeah. Mm.
It's a gift to yourself. It's to know that your centeredness is a gift and not a detractor, and own that. When I was a youngster, they had these weeble wobbles, but they don't fall down. They look like little eggs. You play with them and they go like this and they come back into balance. Okay? The magic of a weeble wobble, but they don't fall down. For those of you, it's not in your generation, that toy. You can't lean too far in or you wobble back, and you can't lean too far back because you wobble to the center. So look for, are you leaning in or are you leaning away? You're coming in with vitriol, with pressure, with anger, with push, with shove, with yang, with unhealthy masculine energy, in an unhealthy way, right? In that way. Or you pull back, you're critical, you're like, I'm stupid, you're judgmental, I'm just going to check out, I don't care about voting, the whole world sucks, it's going to go in flames, who gives a damn, so true power is found when you don't lean into things and you don't lean away from things. So when you're in a situation straight on, right, and you're in a conversation and you find yourself leading in with heat, with energy, with anger, with judgment, with vitriol, with righteousness, it means catch yourself and go, oh, I'm leaning in. When you're leaning in too much, it means you've put too much importance on the topic and you need to lower the importance. So you know how on a stereo there's bass and treble and mid-range?
Right.
Mostly bass and treble, and if you got a higher end one, they got a mid-range, okay? So think of importance as a dial. And if you're getting riled up, it means you have unconsciously invested units of importance onto that topic matter that's making the volume loud. Oh, I've made it too important. Yeah, but everyone says it should be important. Welfare should be important. School tax. Yeah, that's what they all say. But let me just reduce the importance right now. Find my center in equilibrium. I don't want to go too far now where I lean away and I'm totally detached and floating out somewhere or checked out. And then come to that center. So that's the pragmatic. I'll watch myself in exchanges, in communications, in emails, and Facebook when I get oppositional views. Do I feel like jumping in? If I do, I slow down and I lean away a little. If I find I'm disengaged, I'm blah, I'm not there, then I lean in a bit. This beautiful visualization of not leaning in too much or leaning away, you'll start finding your own inner strength. And that's where your true power lies, and mine, in our centered equilibrium state. And then the next step is to recognize no one did that. No one suckered me in. I let myself get suckered in. No one is causing me revulsion or repulsion. I'm choosing that. That's power. When you say they're making me feel repulsed or they're making me feel attracted, you're not taking responsibility that those are hooks within yourself.
Right. Those are your
And when you, oh, wow, I got hooked in there. Okay. I'm going to let that hook go. I'm going to lower the importance. I'm not going to make it so important. And I'm going to find, can I find my center in the, then converse and respond from there. conscientiously, feeling the other's positive intent and speaking to their positive intent. If not, you'll get caught up in speaking to their retort, their excuse, their againstness. And you can never use intellect versus intellect to do that. You'll see just intellectual battles of fact versus factoid versus, but that never touches the heart.
Your own internal war for adherence.
You got it. And to be wanted and to be approved and for people to be righteously aligned with you.
Right.
All of that's got to be let go of.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. So we're about at time here, but I just kind of want to let you know, where can people find out more about WarriorSage and what you guys do there? Where can they find out more about you? Just kind of
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, you know, you can go to WarriorSage.com and there's a button there to be part of our community. When you're part of our community, we have 3 powerful, absolutely free trainings and a community of people practicing these WarriorSage principles around the world, absolutely free. It's like a brotherhood, sisterhood around the world. You're all welcome. There's 3 trainings to start off with. One's called the abundance activation. It's to go from the ego abundance into enlightened abundance. The other one is called relationship activation. It helps you go from the egoic relationships into enlightened relationships. And the last one is called the power activation. Helps you go from the ego world of power to enlightened power. They're downloadable. It's all on WarriorSage.com on the front page. Enjoy those, up level those 3 areas, because we all need more wisdom in sex, power, and money right now to become the best we can be for this new emergent magical world we're emerging in.
Yeah, we're creating.
Exactly.
Part of, yeah. Awesome. And we'll just thank you for coming on. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I'm excited how deep we got to go on some of these topics. And I always love the conversations that you're creating and that we get to have. All right, guys. So that wraps it up for the morning summit. Just a couple quick things. I'll let you go to lunch. I know we're a little late here, but just want to let you know I'm going to start posting when we go live. I'll move the live stream into the announcements and in the Facebook group if you're watching over there. We'll be back on in about 52 minutes with Yannick, which is super exciting. And enjoy your lunch, and we'll roll out here. Have a great lunch period.